Hey everybody, this is Scott Lawrence from Lawrence Marketing, creator of the 5-Point Star Marketing Plan, and welcome to the 5-Point Star Crash Course, the only course based on current industry experts at the 8-figure level, past experts of their time, and that has been simplified down to the paint-by-numbers, step-by-step implementation level. You can literally just follow the steps in this training and start to build a business for yourself. As you follow this training, you're supposed to be learning, taking notes, but most importantly, implementing, building your message, and building your online or offline presence. Are you excited to start your brand new business? Or are you ready to show the world what you've got? Or maybe you've already had a business, but you've been hurt. And now you need to pick yourself up again. Or are you already leading the way for others, and now you just want to take yourself to the next level? You could be into services to do with health, or relationships, expensive hobbies, systems, marketing or finance, or you could even be selling products. You could be putting yourself out there to build your clinic, speaking or online career. You could be selling the next big product that the world needs, or even an everyday item. All sales, no matter how big, small, obvious or obtuse, has just one thing in common. What's the one thing that all sales have in common? Well, basically, it's just this one thing. Someone at the other end has to make the decision to buy it. So how do you do that? How do you help someone at the other end actually make the decision to buy what you have to sell? Really, there are only two tools available: technology and psychology. Now, there's a myth that as technology grows, that psychology will always stay the same. However, don't let anyone tell you that. Yes, it's true that they're psychological selling tools and they're timeless. People refuse to see how far we've come, how psychology has developed as our research tools become more available, easier to use, and frankly, more competitive. It's like saying that the invention of computers, they'll change the world forever, which is true. But what if we just stopped there? What if computers just stayed as these old, disconnected, slow, clunky things instead of these advanced webs of connectivity that we have today? Tablets and personal devices where we can talk to each other instantly. Doesn't it make sense that as we grow, that our sales psychology becomes better? So if all you want to do is see people face to face, which isn't a bad technique anyway, you have the tools today to sell yourself to customers. And the technology these days, wow. I mean, have you seen what Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and other online delivery tools can do for you these days? We've literally just recently come from where most people know how to look things up on the internet, but have no clue how to build a web page or how to leave any mark of their own online, to now 1 billion people posting online. If that doesn't say that the online world has become more accessible, then I don't know what does. So don't fall for the trap of thinking that technology is hard, because that's just not true anymore. If you haven't heard of me, I'm Scott Lawrence from Lawrence Marketing, creator of the 5-Point Star Marketing Plan, and the only course out there that combines all of this at the implementation level. I help businesses, or people I should say, to market themselves to grow their businesses so they can enjoy their lives and leave a greater legacy to the world and to their families. My background has been as a hypnotherapist and lecturer in hypnotic science and marketing. I've always been the go-to guy for how to build your business and how to serve your clients in a better way. In my first 6 months of practice, I saw between 20 to 40 clients per week. I didn't know anything about business. I finished my studies and I was just determined. I asked everybody that I could for help. Can you help me out, please? And luckily for me and luckily for you, there's no shortage of people out there who just want to help. At the time, I had no idea what I was doing. I graduated with my 2-year diploma in hypnotherapy at the Academy of Hypnotic Science. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but have you ever done one of those courses that just blew your mind and opened you up to the way the world really works? Well, this is like one of those courses times 1,000. I was ready. I was ready to go out and just change the world. I even featured on Melbourne's 101.9 Fox FM on the Australia-wide famous Hamish and Andy show. But I'm skipping ahead here a bit. I'm going to go back. There was a problem with this course that I did, or I should really say, there was a problem with me at the time. I didn't know anything about business, And I know that things have changed a lot since then with the business courses that they have available, but at the time, they didn't have any of those business courses. There I was, ready to see clients, taking my best guess, bragging to all of my friends and relatives about how successful that I was going to be, and quite frankly, failing for months before I stopped and asked myself a question. The question basically, how much do I really know about business and marketing? How much? My first question and challenge to you is stop this recording now and take out a pen, take out a paper, and just really ask yourself a couple of questions, just these questions. Just really do yourself this favor. This is how change is going to happen for you. If you do this exercise, change will happen for you. If you don't do this exercise, well, it's kind of like being the bench warmer or the spectator on the side. You actually have to do these parts. My first question to you, who are you? Who are you? I know it's a weird question, but just take your time. Who are you? These are the types of questions that you're going to be answering to other people when you market yourself. The next question, what are you hoping to achieve in the next 12 months? And I know for some people they've thought about this and they've designed it and they've planned it ahead. And other people, I know that some of you haven't. What do you really think it's going to take to get you to that point in 12 months from now? Have you been guilty of just turning up to events or just jumping onto something, hoping, which is really the worst thing, just to hope, without strategy? Hoping's great, but without strategy, not so great. But just hoping that eventually that you'll see something happen or some kind of success or money and some kind of a better lifestyle or wanting or wishing for things that, so you don't have to pay for it with your health anymore, or you don't have to pay for all of this work with your time and your energy anymore, but instead just finding that year after year that things just aren't going the way that you would like them to. If you've said yes, or if your answers have surprised you in any way, what's causing this stagnation? Now, I know you've probably tried, definitely tried more than one thing. You've tried hundreds of things. You've tried thing after thing. You've tried the same thing multiple times. But if you said no, then to any of those as well, what are your plans for sustaining your growth? It's really important to stop sometimes and just ask yourself these questions. It's okay if you don't know the answers to these questions as clearly as what you'd like to. However, if you don't write down anything, or if you haven't written down anything yet, just stop the recording. Just go back and do yourself a favor and reflect on this, because nothing else in your life is more important than your time. When your time is up, you'd wish that you'd done this exercise. So really take your time now to write this down and get this process of marketing happening for you. Let's say, just imagine that there's this big long road and let's say 100 miles, kilometers, whatever system of measurement you have, back there somewhere, 100 some systems of measurement somewhere back there. There was a fork in the road. You could have gone left, you could have gone right, but now it's too late. You're 100 kilometers or miles further along. Are you on the right road? When was the right time to look at the map? When's the right time to ask yourself these questions? In 20 years' time? Or right now? If you did write something down, then you're in the top 1% of all people on the planet. Do you know how many people buy books and don't even read them? Shelf help, I think it's called. It's shelf help because it's not helping you, it's helping your bookshelf. Okay, there's a quote that means a lot to me, and I really just want to share this quote with you. There's no shortage of remarkable ideas. What's missing is the will to execute them. The process of getting your business right is remarkably straightforward. It's the 4 S's. It's state, study, strategy, and stamina. First, you want to work on your state of mind. Are you making angry ultimatums to yourself? I know I've done this, I've seen other people do it too. Angry ultimatums. Calling yourself or other people names, blaming the world for your situation, or are you focused and ready just to get down to work? Secondly, study. If you don't know what to do, then it's a quote unquote, it's not hard to sell yourself. It's actually impossible. You can't do it without knowing how to do it. It astounds me just how many people say that they're trying, quotation marks trying, when they're really just taking their chances by doing just whatever. They're rolling the dice. They're not trying, they're basically guessing. That's not trying. Trying is not that. I mean, success has been mapped out, blueprinted, and laid out in front of you in steps. But if you just want to make it up for yourself, well then you can join the countless others who refuse to study. They refuse to study success and end up wasting their whole lives. I know I sound harsh and provocative, but that's kind of the point. If you continue watching this, you can expect I will be harsh and provocative out of love and out of respect, because I want you to succeed. I know that you've been through stuff that you don't want to go through again, and I want to get you to the other side. I really do care if you succeed or not. I want you to win big, not just medium. I don't want you to try. I don't want you to just roll the dice while torturing yourself. I mean, I want you to really, really win. The third S is strategy. Once you have done your study, you've got your study under your belt, then you need to literally take out a pen and paper or a computer or whatever it is that you use is fine, and physically do the act of mapping out, outlining, unpacking your strategy. Write the whole thing out. Face it, study without following up by creating your own strategy from what you've learned is kind of a waste of time. If all you do is become a book junkie, a seminar or webinar junkie, then you're playing the game from the sidelines again. You're a bench warmer. The fourth and final S is stamina. Many people just don't give themselves enough space to succeed. Think about it, that mastery isn't something that you just wake up one day and decide to do. Stamina is a lifestyle choice. The best industry leaders in the world didn't just decide yesterday that they wanted to be successful. The Beatles, Steve Jobs, J.K. Rowling, and even Einstein didn't just decide one day to say, that's it, I'm going to become an amazing inspiration to the world. They stuck at it, attempt after attempt. They had to give themselves time to figure this stuff out. There are more people today who want and need your products and services than ever before. The challenge is in understanding new marketing, new platforms, and being willing to live up to the challenge. Hey, if you have a gift to the world, don't you owe it to yourself and to the world to make it happen? To work on your state, study, strategy, and stamina until you get that thing done? Or are you just going to give up? I can tell you, as Napoleon Hill famously said, whether you aim high in life or low in life, the effort is the same. So you're going to have to work hard anyway. Why not just get rewarded for it by aiming high? That's the way I see it anyway. I've got more questions for you. Again, stop the recording. Take out a pen and paper. What do you believe about marketing today? What is it? And what is your strategy for marketing psychology and using new platforms or technology, Twitter, Facebook, you know what they are, those platforms that are available today? Are you ready to get into this now? Or have you been scared off by trolls? Those people who put you down or have butted up against the technology challenges and decided that it was all too hard. Trolls don't deserve to have that much control over you. And technology has become so click and play, drag and drop, that you literally do most of the online steps that I tell you in just 10 minutes. So you've decided to work on your 4 S's, your state, your study, your strategy, and your stamina. But who do you study? And what do you study? How do you know that your mentor, your coach, the books that you're reading, how do you know that the information you're getting is the right information for you? Again, it's extremely simple. This is where you need the 4 A's. The 4 A's of where to get your information. The first A is A+ players. I'd really like you to think about the industry that you're in, and do you know anyone who is doing what you would like to do right now? How did they do it? How have they achieved what they've achieved? Does it make sense that the first thing to do is to model the results that you want to get? If you're not learning from A-plus players in your industry, the people who today are winning, then you could be at risk of learning from the wrong people. People who have so many opinions that there's literally no shortage of opinions. Anytime someone offers you their opinion, try asking them about their results. If you're impressed with what they've achieved, doesn't it make sense that they've earned their credibility? Not just because of what they say or think, but because of what they've proven over and over and over again. Okay, moving on. I'd like for you to stop this recording again now and write down the names of 3 people who are currently in your industry, creating the type of success that you desire to have. If you can't think of 3, then maybe you're being too specific or too vague about what it is that you do and who it is that you help. I can almost hear you say back to me, but Scott, I sell screwdrivers designed to work in space for left-handed people. I don't have a mentor to show me how to do that, or I'm a coach who only helps 36-year-old women who live in this tiny little pocket of the world. Or, Scott, I do combine everything. Nobody has ever done what I've done before. Come on. If you can't find 3 people who inspire you, and again, I know that I'm pushing some people's buttons here, but that's what you came here for. You want to be challenged at a higher level. I would not be doing my job if I let you off that easily and didn't make you write down the names of 3 people who inspire you. The second A is ancestry. This is all about looking back in time for how things used to be done and how the world has changed. Who are the past leaders who invented or brought your industry forward? What do you have to do to make such a mark in history? Also, what history happened accidentally that made its mark in our history books? For example, this could be the happy accident of the Kellogg's father and son, who discovered that when they accidentally left the grain out for too long, that it became dry before pressing it. They invented breakfast cereals by mistake. Write down 3 changes that happened in your industry that gave birth to or reinvented the way that people will do business forever in your industry. The third A stands for audience. Who are you serving? Have you asked them their opinion about what you do? Are you aware of any case studies of a person who used your products or services? They could be your customer or someone else's customer. Did they have a good or a bad experience? Write down 3 case studies of an audience or customer, or if you can't think of one off the top of your head, go ahead and look up one on Google or ask a well-informed mentor to provide you with a case study. What did they have to say about your industry? What does your customer have to say about their good or bad experience? And the fourth and final A is anchor. It's all well and good to go and study A players and your ancestry or history, and then to go study your audience and case studies. But what are you going to do with that information once you have it? How are you going to anchor or put a mnemonic story or a story that helps you remember what you've learned from your study and research so that you can recall that information at a later time? I'm going to ask you again, what do you believe about marketing today? Has it changed? Again, if you haven't done the exercise, go back and do the exercise, and then I'll ask you again, what do you believe about marketing today? What is your strategy for marketing psychology and using the new platforms available? Has your answer changed? I know mine has, since I've been asking myself these questions. According to the Australian Government Treasury, there was a 13.9% entry rate and a 13.5% exit rate for businesses from 2010 to 2011. I couldn't really find as many relevant statistics on the Bureau of Statistics, mainly because they just don't have the funding to be able to give us this kind of information. So I went to the Treasury. What's that information telling us though? If there's only a 0.4% more entries than exits in businesses in 1 year, what does that tell us about new businesses today? To me, I'll tell you what I think it means. It means that people are starting without a plan and then they're just giving up on their dreams. Where will you be in 1 year's time? Look at that number again, 0.4%. Where will you be in 1 year's time? What is your marketing plan? Are you actively studying today's best industry practices and implementing your plan? After studying the world's greatest and current past marketers, I've learned how to actively fill my hypnotherapy clinic to 40 clients per week and high-priced seminar rooms to capacity over and over and over again. But it wasn't always that way. I studied at the Academy of Hypnotic Science in 2008 and 2009, and I expected to find a pot of gold at the other end of the course where I would automatically attract as many clients as I wanted. My background was in retail. I knew much about customer service, but nothing about running a business. I'd never had a business before, and after graduating with a diploma of hypnotherapy, I was told that I'd start to attract clients with my positive attitude. It just seems silly now looking back at it. But luckily for me, I met a coach who taught me how to create marketing funnels. That's right, I got help. I found someone who had been there before, and they taught me how to do it. And after a few months, my turnover as a hypnotherapist was between $2,000 to $3,000 per week. Excitedly, I went back to the Academy of Hypnotic Science where Jess, my wife, and I put on seminars to show these students how to attract customers. My teachers at the time were putting seminars on at the $25 level, or $25 for the seminar, for a 2-hour seminar, and they'd attract anywhere between 10 to 12 people for every ad that they would put out. And these ads would run for about 2 months. And still, 10 to 12 people for $25. Jess and I put on our first seminar, and it was really funny, but there's this association that we're with called the Australian Hypnotherapist Association. We were about to put on a seminar to teach students how to get their clients to stop smoking. The AHA, or the Australian Hypnotherapist Association, they went on before us, 3 weeks before us, and they got around 20 to 30 people turn up to the seminar. I'm like, that's the association that every hypnotherapist in Australia tends to look at or join, and who am I? I'm brand new. No one knows who I am. Who's going to come to my seminar? So if they got, for the $25 level, they got around 20 to 30 people, I guess, well, probably I might get, 10 or 12 or something, right? When Jess and I put our first seminar on, we attracted 86 people at that $25 level. And then we put on another seminar, the same 2 hours, for $250 at the same time. And then we attracted 59 people. How do we do that? We learned a system to attract clients and seminar attendees using advanced sales psychology. Or you could basically say that we studied and we implemented. What would a system like that do for your business? Well, what did we study? We studied a lot of people, one person in particular. Have you ever heard of Brendon Burchard? Brendon Burchard is one of the most widely followed personal development trainers of our time. He is a New York Times #1 bestseller author whose books include Life's Golden Ticket, The Millionaire Messenger, The Charge, Activating the 10 Human Drives That Make You Feel Alive. After surviving a terrible car crash at age 19, Brendon chose to spread his message of positivity and motivation to the world. After learning from the world's greatest marketers alive today, now Brendon runs a 10-figure business and has nearly 2 million Facebook followers. How did Brendon, a young kid from the Irish mining town in Montana, grow into such a business success story? Can we learn and model industry leaders, past and present, to improve our businesses and to learn from what they know? Where would you take your business if you knew what they knew? How people do business today has changed forever. Old models of business require you to hire large teams of people, and they're operated by the rule of supply and demand. You remember that rule, supply and demand? We had no social media back in the day, and business owners would hide behind their prestige. Getting out in front of your business to meet your customer was almost unheard of. What 80s business practices have you seen today just still operating in a business that you know of? What 80s practices? What do you need to change? You have more power to engage with and inspire and understand your customer than any other time in history. Changes on the internet have changed how people do business forever. YouTube, Google, Facebook, etc., have given you the power to have a direct relationship with your customer without any need for a PhD in computers. Now that you have this power to communicate, what will you say? What sales psychology are industry leaders using today? Conveniently for you, you've got the 5-point star marketing plan here to help you out. Everything is here in one place. It's easy to remember, and this is the only coaching program at this deep dive level of implementation. So let's get straight into it. After spending a week with Brennan Bouchard at his industry famous Experts Academy and meeting with several industry experts, I've put together a simple program of step-by-step instructions based on my experience and industry best practice in marketing. So what is the 5-point star marketing plan? Well, it's a simple system to ensure best marketing practice containing 5 steps in order that you absolutely must do to market in today's economy. There are 5 steps to any great marketing plan. Number 1, greet. Get out in front of your audience either online or offline. If you're not greeting people, then you could be basically just sitting there in your room or your house or in your business, whatever it is, just sitting there complaining about the economy, complaining about all this extra work that you have to do, just complaining and complaining. But are you getting out there and greeting people, whether online or whether offline? Number 2, listen. To survey or hear your audience to ensure that you understand them. One of the symptoms that I've seen of people who don't understand the audience is discounting. Discounting to me means that you're just not listening. Why do you think that these customers would pay a higher price for someone else, but not for you? It's not because you haven't discounted enough. It's they're paying higher prices. Why would someone pay a higher price? If you don't listen to your customer, then you just won't have any ability to have that information. Number 3, recall. Recall is basically to prove back to your client or to your audience that you've been listening to them, to prove to them that they are cared for and that they matter to you. And number 4, show bag. To explain and to give free or low price samples of what you do. So often I've seen a symptom of people who don't show bag. They start saying, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And people are going, well, what's your stuff? I don't understand what you have. It's like, I don't know, just buy it, buy my stuff. Come on, please, I'll give you half price off. Yeah, but I don't understand what you do. What's your course for? Or what's your product or service for? Let's say someone wants to sell kinesiology. Does everyone know what kinesiology is? You could discount it, but if people don't know what it is, or what I experienced in hypnotherapy, not everybody knows what to expect from hypnotherapy. So if you're not telling people what it is that you do at a clear level that they can understand, they have to be able to, in their heads, see it, hear it, and feel it, and then they can understand it. People know how to go to a burger shop and buy a burger. That's a very simple transaction. They've done that for a long time. What if you're selling something a little bit more obtuse? What if you're selling coaching or information, or you're selling a service where you're treating something that not everybody is an expert at? Are you just saying, buy my stuff? And number 5, sales offer. To explain the value of your offer and to ask for the sale using advanced sales psychology. So you may have show bagged, you may have gone through all the steps except this one. You may have greeted them, you may have listened and recalled, you may have show bagged, as in you've got all this knowledge and you've communicated it well. Did you stop there? Did you become a bench warmer where you went out and met people, and then people maybe, they've even asked you, can I come and buy your stuff? And you go, oh, I don't know, it's not ready yet. Bench warmer, come on. Do you have a strategy for each of these essential steps? Greet, listen, recall, show bag, sales offer. Because you need a strategy for each of those 5 steps. What is your plan to greet your customers at the front end? Are you in front of them often enough? And how are you listening to your customer? How are you proving that you recall the information or listen to your client? How well do you explain your show bag or what it is that you do or sell? And what is your sales offer? Your price point, how does it come? Are you using it, and is it working as well as it should be? Is it working as well as you'd like it to? Or do you fall into the trap of neglecting one or more of these steps? Instead of greeting your client, you become a ghost. Oh no, where did you go? You're about to greet your customer and I swear that you were here a minute ago. And you've gone, you're a ghost. Or instead of listening to your client, you became an ego. You became a blah, blah, blah expert where you don't really know or care about me or what I want. You just keep dictating to me what you think that I want, but have you listened? Or instead of recalling back what you know about your clients, you became an amnesiac, where it's just like, I just told you everything that I wanted, and it's a week later and now you've just forgotten everything about me. I told you that I needed X, not Y right now, or you're trying to sell me your marketing plan, but I need scalability because my back end has reached some kind of a limit. Or perhaps that in other ways that I've told you that I'm interested in taking it over here. I want to take my career to, let's say, to where I travel, and you're telling me how to stay at home. Or I want to take my career online, and you're telling me how to sell face-to-face. When you tell something back to somebody, you need to prove that they're cared for and respected by making sure that you're actually recalling back the things that they said to you. Instead of giving away a show bag that explains what you do, you become a creep. Always saying, buy my stuff, and pushing it onto people. But they don't understand what it is that you have. The first one, number one, greet versus ghost. Ghost stands for go hide out, scared of trolls. While everybody else is out there doing business, you're hiding behind a rock somewhere. And now I get it. It's painful and it's confusing when an industry expert or a friend or a poorly behaved customer accuses you of something ridiculous or just has a real whinge to you or just tells you that your message is all wrong and that you need to start all over again. But is that any reason to stop getting out there and to stop promoting yourself? Do you remember what we just talked about earlier and about what you want to accomplish this year? Well, how are you ever going to get there when every time you start, you're just as quickly stopped because you're tired or you're confused about how to start or you've been hurt by some troll out there? We just talked about the 4 S's and the 4 A's. The 4 S's, state, study, strategy, and stamina. The 4 A's, A players, ancestry, audience, and anchors. Well, keep those S's and A's written down nearby because we're going to use them to heal any fatigue, confusion, or pain that you may have towards making this your breakthrough year. There are only 3 main categories of complaints that either you make or your customer makes. The first one, health complaints such as I can't do it, or I don't want to, or it's too hard, or I feel, etc. I'm not really up for that right now, or maybe later. The next one, relationship complaints such as they did this, or this person did this to me, or they said, or they're at fault, they're an idiot, or nobody will help me, other people are letting me down, etc. And then the last one, system complaints to do with money, time, and how your life or business works. Common sentences or phrases people could say could be, it doesn't work, or it can't, or not enough, or too much, or how, etc. But really, what they're doing is basically having an adult tantrum. If you're dealing with health complaints, then you should really do these 6 things in order. The first one, see a doctor. 2, breathe. 3, sleep. 4, hydrate. 5, eat clean. And the last one is exercise. The first one, see a doctor. What are you waiting for? If it's emergency, at least get it looked at. If you're on the operating waiting list, then at least you've started the process. You can let go of what you can't control, and now you can move on with what you can. Number 2, breathe. This is so important for energy and so often neglected. If you're a smoker, then you aren't getting enough clean air into your body. Your lungs and other organs are doing what they can, but you aren't really living at the high output level. Number 3, sleep. If you're tired, you can't think properly. The number 1 reason that people make poor decisions is that they're fatigued when they make those decisions. We talk about the heart, we talk about the lungs and the liver and kidneys and other organs as if they're an organ, which they are. So why is it that we don't talk about the brain as a physical organ or as a part of your body? If your body is tired, then your brain is tired too. If your body is healthy, your brain, which is part of your body, has a much better chance of making brave, gratitude-filled decisions, strategic decisions. Number 4, hydrate. Are you drinking enough water throughout the day? Or worse, are you drinking sugary syrup soft drinks? We have words for food that don't even tell you what the food is. They just tell you when you're supposed to be eating it. Words such as breakfast, morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, midnight snack, etc. So where are our words that mean water throughout the day? Where's our breakfast water, our lunch and dinner water? If you're even 5% dehydrated, you can lose up to 30% of your cognitive function. Number 5, eat clean. To put it frankly, there's food and there's junk. There is no junk food. Eat clean, not too many sugars and processed foods. Experiment with a vegetable and think of your body as a machine and food as the fuel that runs that machine. What would happen if we tipped a 2-litre bottle of soft drink plus all of this processed food into the fuel tank of your car? How well would it run? And number 6, the last illness prevention technique is to exercise. There's this myth out there that exercising has to take up your whole day. If you do 30 minutes, just 4 days a week, then you're done. Your body, and hence your brain being a part of your body, will activate when you move. If you have a relationship complaint, it's because you are focusing on your systems too much and not enough on your relationships. I've had students tell me that they've run and owned multi-million-dollar companies in the past and have had that company stolen from them by someone that they thought that they could trust. I've had students tell me that their husbands or wife are at fault, that it's their parents or children's fault, their friend or co-worker's fault, or that they're not successful. Dream stealers, I think that what they're called sometimes or referred to as. I highly recommend that if you haven't already, go and study John Gray's Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, and the Anthony Robbins 6 Core Needs. To summarize, John Gray discovered that men and women think differently, and he wrote a book about it. Men prefer a more narrow focus, and women prefer a wider, broader view of life. The problem is that men in business blame women for wasting time and never making a decision, and women blame men for not listening to them and not exploring the idea fully. Until people stop blaming the other gender and start understanding the different communication styles and learn to integrate the other gender's values, they will always be stuck in the rat race, blaming their partner or blaming their boss or someone other than themselves for where they're at life. The 6 Core Needs is a system that talks about how all people are different. If you haven't, go check out the 6 Core Needs. To summarize, some people need things to be certain, secure, known in advance, and others need variety, freedom, and the stimulation of change to thrive. The problem comes when people don't understand and provide for the value of others. Maybe you're the control freak and they're the crazy wild card who keeps wrecking everything for you. Or maybe you're the wild card and they're suffocating you with their order and sterility. The solution has to come from understanding and providing for the value of the needs of the other person. There's more to the 6 Core Needs that I could go on about literally all day, but I don't have time to cover it all here. So if you find yourself fighting or seeing others as the problem, I recommend that you study the 6 Core Needs. If you keep blaming the world or believing that the world is stacking against your success, then you could be making system complaints. The sign of a system complaint is that it's usually associating authority with pain. There's psychology tools that direct your focus, and it's called sensory language. If you keep describing the pictures, sounds, feelings, tastes, or smells that cause you pain, it means that you aren't spending enough time programming your subconscious into the pleasure outcomes of positive pictures, positive sounds, feelings, and positive tastes and smells. Let me give you a business example. Do you spend more time describing expenses and bills that are adding up, meaning pain-focused, Or do you talk about the pathway to solution more, such as assets, opportunities, strengths, and skills that you could be monetizing? Do you spend your time complaining that there's not enough time or not enough resources to do what you need to do, using those same 5 senses, pictures, sounds, feelings, tastes, and smells to describe pain? Or do you spend more of your time describing the pathway to solution and the pleasure that comes from unpacking what it is that you actually need to do in small, bite-sized steps of how you would actually spend more of your time if you had it? If you spend more time describing pain, then you're going to attract pain creativity and pain strategies. If you spend more time describing pleasure, then you're going to attract more pleasure creativity and pleasure strategies. So how can the 4 S's and the 4 A's help you to overcome the health, relationship, and system complaints that confused or hurt you and turned you into a troll who hides under the dark bridges instead of an active greeter who gets out in front of their business? It's simple. To be an active greeter, you first must actually ask yourself, as you enter a conversation, what is your state of mind? If you keep talking about pain, such as, this person doesn't seem right, or they seem to judge me, then you will only fail to do business with that person. When your state of mind is positive, you become creative, and you generate opportunities to sell, to gain referrals, and to gain joint venture partners who will work with you towards your future. If you haven't studied your 4 A's, as in your A players, ancestry, audience, and created memorable anchors, then you won't know how to properly lead your prospect into a sale, a referral, or a joint venture project. If you haven't written down and practiced what your strategy will be, then all of those ideas that you've studied will just stay as ideas and they'll never elevate into the realm of actions and results. And if your stamina isn't right, then you'll give up too early and not talk to enough people. Have you been hurt so bad in the past that you stopped promoting yourself? Try working through the 4 S's and the 4 A's and see what that does for your ability to get out there in front of people. I have performed some of the greatest seminars in my industry, and after one heckler hurt my feelings, I stopped doing seminars for an entire year until I did my 4 S's and 4 A's. I know it sounds a little embarrassing on my part to say, what? I stopped doing seminars for a whole year? Well, I didn't know how to process that heckler. I thought, well, maybe I'm just rubbish. Maybe I should just give up on this whole thing. That's not the way you do it. Don't give up on yourself just because one person doesn't know how to behave. Think about someone who has hurt you in the past. Did they turn you into a ghost? Is it time to brush off the hurt and to get back out there again? Step 1 of the 5-point STAR marketing plan is GREET. GREET stands for grooming. How well do you appear online or offline? Regularity. Are you getting out there frequently enough? Elevator speech, or the hill I like to call it. I help who do what, buy what, without. Explore your customer. The mirror or the coaching questions. Traffic, online or offline. Where are you finding your clients and customers, and are you taking advantage of all of your opportunities? Are you diversifying your sources of traffic? Grooming. How do you appear online or offline? If face-to-face, how do you look? Are you turning up as your best possible self? I know that we criticize the way that we look, but people really aren't as bothered about how attractive you were born as much as your personal hygiene. Smell has a huge role in first impressions. What are you wearing? Are you wearing your I don't care about this event clothes, your I don't care ripped jeans? Or are you wearing your I'm doing business clothes? Is your body language open, friendly, or confident? Or are you just kind of scaring people off with your grrr, crossed arms, or however it is that you scare people away? Is your voice loud enough, or is it too loud and overbearing? Is your tone and pace easy for people to listen to? Is your energy where it needs to be to make an impression on someone? And if online, when you go onto, let's say there's Facebook, there's Google, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, what is the design of your ad? Have you considered the colors that you are using for your web page? Are you using too many colors? Is your layout something that you would be proud of? Or did you just throw up anything just hoping that it would stick and gain clicks somehow? Are your fonts neat and consistent? Have you produced a Jackson Pollock painting? Regularity. Are you getting out there frequently enough? If face-to-face, how many network events or seminars are you attending per month? If you are seeing less than 2 events per month, then you're not really out there frequently enough. You're just inside your own vessel, complaining, having that adult tantrum that we talked about. And if online, how often is your ad up? How often do you put out new ads and test new ads? Did you try something for a bit and then take it down because you just didn't see instant results? Did you split test? Did you put 2 ads up at once to see which one was performing better? How often do you post your Facebook or social media rooms? If it's less than 3 times a day, then you aren't being regular enough. One of the key factors in getting a client to know, like, and trust you is how often they get to see you. Elevator speech, or the hill. I help who do what, by what, without. Your elevator speech is something that I like to call your hill. I'd like you to imagine a hill. There you are at the top of your hill, and at the bottom of the hill is a mirror. Your client can see you and your results at the top of the hill, and at the bottom, they can see themselves. There's no need to talk about the pathway up the hill at this point. And that sentence, I help who, do what, by what, you're supposed to fill in the blanks. My example would be, I'm Scott, I'm a hypnotherapist. I help smokers quit smoking using hypnotherapy without patches or pills. Simply asked, can you describe what you do in 20 seconds or less? My favorite technique is the I help who, do what by what without technique. Too many people have the butcher, baker, candlestick maker pitch. They just give you their name and what industry they're in. The problem there is that people don't understand what problem or ambition you solve for them specifically. If you say that you're in real estate, finance, law, accounting, kinesiology, coaching, etc., then all people hear is a bunch of words that they don't relate to. An example of my elevator speech is, I'm Scott. I help entrepreneurs, either new, established, or at the highest level, gain more business by teaching and coaching them using the same techniques that world industry leaders use to build their 8-figure brands without all of the confusion, using step-by-step systems that are instantly able to be implemented. My previous role as a hypnotherapist, I would say, I'm Scott and I help smokers to quit using my 6 triggers of smoking hypnotherapy program so they can stop smoking without patches, pills, or cravings. Do you have your I help who, what by what without pitch? Explore your customer. The mirror or coaching questions. Now that your prospect understands what you do up on top of your hill, they need to know that you're willing to listen to them and to talk to them from where they are at now. There's no point in trying to help them up the hill until you've looked at them, found out where they are now, and you've helped them to understand where they are first. Your prospect may not even be aware that there is a hill. And if they are aware, they may not be aware if they are at the bottom, somewhere in between, or miles up in the clouds. Are you giving your prospect a chance to let you know where they are now? And traffic, online or offline. Where do you find clients? Are your traffic sources various enough? Are you using the internet enough to find network groups? Do you have an online presence? And do you appear across all of the social media platforms? Giving yourself a score out of 10 on each category. I'd like you to rate yourself just to see how you did. The point of this exercise is that if you don't look at where you are in business now, you can't measure it. I'd like you to imagine that you're driving a car, but your windscreen and actually every window in your car is caked with mud and dirt. You can't see. So you can try to steer all you want, but if you can't see the road, if the windscreen is not clear, then what's the point of steering? You can't see what you're steering towards. So the point of this exercise is that we're clearing your windscreen so that you can see the road that your business is traveling along. Give yourself a score on 10 out of each category. Grooming, from 1 to 10. Where do you feel that you rate? Regularity, from 1 to 10. Are you getting out there regularly enough? Elevator speech, from 1 to 10. Have you defined what you do in a simple term that's not butcher, baker, candlestick maker? I'm an accountant, I'm a financial advisor, I'm a real estate guy, I'm a coach, I'm a hypnotherapist. What's that? I don't know what that is until you tell it to me in terms that I relate to. I help who, do what, buy what, without. Out of 10, give yourself a score. And explore your customer. Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. How well are you listening to find out where they're at before you just start telling them the pathway? And traffic, from 1 to 10. How would you rate yourself? How are you out there? And are you out there in enough various platforms? Add up your score out of 50. If you scored from 0 to 15, then you're a ghost. You need to greet much better than what you currently are doing. If you scored from 16 to 35, then you're neutral. Don't expect amazing results, but expect some. If you scored from 36 to 50, then you are truly in the top 1% of all greeters. You are friendly and definitely know how to attract people with your charm. If you've listened this far, then well done. Not everybody makes it this far through the training. In the second half of the training, we're going to finish off the 5-point star marketing plan and help you to implement and to make your message as clear as it can be. Until next time, I'm Scott, helping you to grow your confidence, serve your clients, and to build your business in a bigger way. I'll talk to you in the next section.